Acceptábis sacrificium iustitiae. You will accept a sacrifice of justice. These are among the last verses of the Miserere psalm, a very famous psalm that we chant every day at the divine office at Lauds. And this is the ending after we have repented and been washed clean by Christ's sacrifice. Then we will be able to offer an acceptable sacrifice, Christ himself, on the altar. I would like to speak a little bit more about the modes today, or at least about this mode. This chant is in what we call mode 4. And what do we mean by a mode, though? In most modern music we have two modes. We have a major mode that sounds like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. If you're familiar with those syllables, it's major because we have two whole steps at the beginning. Do, re, mi, followed by a half step. Fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Now, what if we start on the next note above it? Re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re. That has a minor feel to it. So a minor mode in modern music has a whole step and then a half step right away. And this gives it what we usually associate as a sadder quality, maybe more introspective and so on. What happens if we start on mi and do it like this? Mi, va, sol, la, ti, la, sol, fa, mi. This is peculiar because it has a half step above the bottom note. This bottom note is what we call the tonic, or the final, and it gives the context for the rest of the piece. And in modes 3 and 4, we have a half step above the tonic. Now, what does all of this mean? Chant has its origins in just a very simple recitation of the psalmody. And so, for example, we might start on this note here and sing Acceptábis sacrificium iustitiae, and simply go up that half step to give the accents of the words. Now, if we did this for hours a day, and we do chant psalms for a few hours each day, this could be a little bit dull, staying mainly on one note and not moving around very much. So at a very early date, a second important note was added to the modal system, not only the tonic at the bottom, but also the dominant. And so we would have something like this. We would start on this note. Acceptábis sacrificium iustitiae, oblationes et holocausta, super altare tuum, Dómine. So we end up on the tonic, here on mi, but we're chanting on the dominant. See if you can hear, we're going to chant just a little bit. We're going to do the second half of this, oblationes et holocausta. See if you can hear how we arrive at the dominant up here, and we end on this note here. So we'll take it from oblationes. So you can see whoever composed this chant makes a lot out of that half step at the end. Dómine. It raises a lot of tension. Now, one way that's good if you are going to be teaching chant or studying it in some way, a good way to learn how to hear the modes is to have one singer just hold the tonic and have everybody sing against it, and to hear the relationships then between the notes of the mode and the tonic. As I said, the tonic sets the context for everything else. All of the other notes are related to it, and we hear them in relation to that note. So we're going to sing from the beginning now, and I'm going to hold the tonic note, and the rest of the schola is going to sing the chant. Just listen for the affect. See how it makes you feel. See what kind of images this conjures up in your mind when we sing it this way. Because we would have had to hold a half step against each other, and that's kind of difficult to do. The medieval theorists of the modal system considered this the mystical mode. They heard in this a deep longing for God and a sense of mystery in it. And I think that we can hear this too. We normally associate this half-step interval between the tonic and the note above it with Eastern music. It's somewhat typical for Middle Eastern music, to a certain extent in Asian music. We don't really have it in modern Western music, and so it particularly sounds more distant and exotic to our ears. We will talk more about these modes over the next few weeks, and just see if you can hear again. We're going to start from the beginning, and notice when we make this giant leap up at the beginning, we're going right to the dominant, which is going to be the note we're going to recite the most on. But notice that we end on the note 3 steps below it, on the tonic. Okay? So here is Acceptábis sacrificium iustitiae.